Hello and welcome to the FleeceFolk Diary. My name is Azra and you can find me as the Duchess of Sussex on Instagram and Ravelry. Welcome to the week 2 Tour de Fleece recap. I'm just here at my plying station and I'm not sure if I've shown you my Nitty-naughty. I can't remember if I did that in my last video, so I thought I would just show you how I operate mine and what it's made out of. This is again another creation by the Duke of Sussex, so you can go bother him if you want to ask about it. It's a bunch of PVC pipe with connectors and end caps, and some of the end caps do come out. I forget the length of this, but because these two ends are removable, I also have a length of pipe that is shorter if I want a shorter Nitty-naughty, which is really rare. So this is the one that I use the most. I've just finished plying the first bobbin of the Lucinville Coated Spinning Fleeces Finn Romney Corridor cross. So I thought I might just go ahead and, while I am winding this on, talk to you about Tour de Fleece week 2. Fleece sold. So I'll show you at the end. You're gonna hear vehicles going by, but please ignore, I can't help it. Because I can never tell if I will end on a full rotation through the Nitty-naughty, I always take a bunch. Take one of the end caps off and just store this in there, like kind of squirrel it away and put the cap on. That way I don't have to worry about holding on to that end with my thumb for when I finish up. So I take, I don't know, the motion of a W. I'm really not giving you a great view. Car again. And I also do this as much as I can standing up, because a lot of my crafting I've spoken about is sitting down. Tour de Fleece week 2 has taken a turn from week 1. It really was quite a lot different to what week 1 was. Week 1 was go, 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 you know, throw everything at the wheel. And that was great. I achieved a lot in terms of finished skeins. I had a surprise little getaway for week 2 of Tour de Fleece, so things have been considerably slower, and that's kind of the point, right? So with a wheel, whether you want speed or you want to take it low and slow, you can really do both, and that's the beauty of it. So because it was a slower week, I thought I would just do a video, because I've acquired quite a bit of footage, I think, of just slow TV. So, you know, I'll keep this introduction as brief as I can. I'll join you in the end to show you all the finished skeins of this week, but I think the rest of the footage will just be a bit of maybe gentle music, maybe sounds of nature. I was up in a sort of mountainous area and there were lots of birds, and I managed a lot of spinning on the porch over sunrise and sunset, and a lot of it in front of the fire. There was a fireplace in front of the fireplace, in front of a very toasty heater, and because I was on the move, I did have to say goodbye to my wheel for quite a good number of days. So that has mostly been what's contributed to the slower pace of things. But to keep things portable, and I do think I talk about this in one of the clips, to keep things portable, I moved on to my 3D printed Turkish spindles. In a lot of the clips, you'll hear me talk about the Turkish spindles and call them Turtle Pearl. Turtle Pearl, they're a great business. They're based out of Canada. She is really great at dyeing matching skeins of self-striping yarn. Very Pink Knits talks about her a lot, but the Turkish spindles are turtle made. So every time I say turtle pearl, just make a mental note that it is in fact not. So you can see the skein slowly forming. It is such an intimate time to spend with the skein, or with the yarn that you've plied. I feel like this is where you really get to see the thick and thin of it all. You can pick out bits of grass seed, and you can, you know, because this was a sort of a semi-variegated, it was a morat fleece, so there were bits of brown, bits of cream, and a little bit of gray that were all sort of combed together. You can kind of see how everything comes together. I'm not sure if the camera is picking up anything besides a generic shade of beige, but there is some barber pulling even with the darker bits of fleece with the cream ends. I'll just pause and show you how I finish tying this once I have emptied this bobbin. Please hold. I've just come to the end. The end can always be quite natty because that's where I start. I can tell there's a lot of twist in this because it does want to untwist, so I'll be happy to wind this into a skein. I've come a full rotation actually to my starting point, which is often rare, but because that last end is natty, I think I will just cut or trim that off. And I never throw these, I save these for other skeins. I then undo my cap, bring out my little stash of stored yarn, and bring it to a point where the yarns are usable, because both ends can be a little, I don't know, not super desirable. So how do I show this to you? There you go. So I tie it together and then just do a figure of 8 through the middle of all 4 sides. So here I will know that the figure of 8, I usually do the start at the beginning. I mark the beginning of an end of the skein by twisting the same yarn through, and I might use some contrasting ties for the other 3 just to keep the skein from being tangled. So I will tie my knot, part the middle, pull a bit of the yarn through. This is not going to be a great angle. Separate out, pull the other bit of yarn through the other side. There you go. I'll show this to you a couple more times, I'm sure, over the course of this channel. So, and I tied 2 knots to really secure it, and then I cut off the excess. Ooh, car. Sorry about that. There you go. That's 1 knot. I could just do the rest with this. I might do that. Another one from a different angle. Part it. Take that yarn through. Ooh. Take that yarn through and take it through the back. Through the same hole. And then on this end, you'll see now there are just 2 ends, which can meet and be knotted together. Excellent. I'll do the same here. Part it. And you want to do this, it's easiest to do this when the yarn is still on the Nitty-naughty, just because it is being held taut. I guess the point of a Nitty-naughty is to wind the skein under tension, because after you ply a yarn, there can still be quite a lot of energy in the skein. I'm just going to tie off the longer ends. I don't want them to be too long because they might encourage other bits to felt. It's really great to also save the butt ends of little skeins that you haven't used, but also often when I order yarn, it comes packaged and tied up with a bit of string, so I might save some of that too. I've actually got some leftovers from my combo spin, but I'm scared to include that. What if the color runs and it ruins the latte? I've got to think about that too. All right, let's keep the color light. Let's use some of these offcuts. And around and through. Through the same slot. Excellent. And just tie that together. Cool. I've now got all 4 sides tied. And I then just pull one of these arms. Just twist it out gently. And that just comes out. And I release the skein. Woo! That's a lot of twist. That's all right. So it's never, for me, it's never perfectly balanced, but I'm okay with it because this has not had a nice hot warm bath. Or you can store this in bits, by the way, so it's great if you've got a small space like I do. You can twist this around. It's an awful sound, I'm not going to do it. And it flattens to what looks like a capital I, and you can sort of slide it sort of between the wall and the bookshelf. But that's really, oops, sorry, what I do. The colors in this are amazing. This is spun woolen. It was a long draw, and when I plied it, usually I'll ply in a sort of a worsted fashion where I'll smooth the plies together. But this time I just kept pulling back and letting the twist travel up to my e-spinner to sort of maintain a more woolen plying as well. But I'll show you in the unfinished skein. This is how it's come out raw. It smells so good. And then I wind it. I think the colors for the ties are a really interesting point of topic because I, in another lifetime thought I might enter some of my spinning into shows and things like that. So I know the Bendigo show accepts entrances, just pulling the ends through each other. And then I've started just giving it a flick and giving it a little twist to see how it would sit. There you go. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, often when I show you skeins, it might look like that, but that's only because it's just been twisted together. When you unwind the skein and wind that ball, it'll be perfect. Yeah, speaking of competitions, a lot of the entry forms recommended a nice sort of pleasing finish for the judges and how the finish of your skein will impact the judgment, obviously. And one of the things they recommended was to, tie off your skein to prevent tangles using the same yarn or in a color that is invisible. So if this had ties that were, burgundy, it's just gonna distract and take away from the full effect, full impact of the skein. The musicians have started, so I've got to go. to week 2 of Tour de Fleece. We've had a surprise trip, so I've had to pivot off using my wheel. And I was packing for somewhere really quite cold. I'll show you the view. Somewhere pretty beautiful. And if we're lucky, there might be a few wallabies that come by to mow the lawn. So I had to be really careful about what I packed for spinning, because I still wanted to continue spinning every day. And in the interest of continuing British fibre off of my merino skewer braids, I realised that I actually had, from Waratah Fibres, she's based in New South Wales, in the Southern Highlands, some gorgeous English Wensleydale tops. Wensleydales are really, really, really cute sheep. They look like mops, really cute mops. I did pack 2 of these braids because when I get spinning I can go crazy and can probably eat through 200 grams, but maybe that's a bit optimistic because I have been out and about exploring the mountains and exploring town. I also packed with me some Turkish spindles. So here I have my Turtle Pearl purple Turkish spindle. And I'm going to show you how I get started. This is something I learned very recently, and it helps you keep a center pull ball. Anyway, so I've got no method to this madness. I'm just spinning bits of the top that I take off. I'm not splitting it down the braid to create a specific fractal or anything like that. Anyway, so I'll pop this in there, and I will assemble the cross. And because before I would take my drop spindle actually or draft out a little bit, twist it around my hand or against my thigh, and then wrap it around, but this has actually been easy. Okay, I'm going to show you how I get started. I take an end and pop it through the back. It's a little bit overlapping, and overlapping the fiber, I push in the middle. You have to catch it kind of a decent chunk just so it gets lodged in there. And because I was traveling not by car but by public transport, I wanted to be really I did recently get a set of Turkish spindles that I quite like. Sorry, just need to pull that out because it's a bit thick. Oh, I don't mind a thick start. So I'll just twist it until I have the thread going, that I can then do over 2 arms, under 1 arm. Maybe a bit more. Over 2, under 1, and then I just do a little hitch, half hitch, knot. And now we're in business. I packed my turtle pearl spindles. In the interest of spinning with Team Cat and Sparrow, Tour de Fleece 2025, I actually bought these. Sorry, there's a car going. I bought this spindle off of her, this turtle pearl. These are 3D printed, so they're really quite hardy. One thing with spindles is that they can fall on you if you don't have enough twist built up. But because they're 3D printed, I thought it would be fine in my bag if it did get squished. It'd be fine if it fell onto the patio here. So I'll do that and then walk it back, and we go over 2, under 1, over 2, under 1. I learned all of my spindle spinning from Lisa at Soulful Spinning. She remains one of my favorite channels on here, and so full credit to her. I do have some new spindles from the Lair of the Bearded Dragon, but they are quite delicate and they're made of wood, and I really didn't want to risk any damage. in transport or if I were to drop it over something. So today's actually one of the warmer days up here where I am. You can probably see the wind. It's beautiful, the scenery, but it's warm enough for me to be outside. I've been inside near the heater, basically rotisserie chickening myself, uh, turning this way and that to keep warm, and I've been spinning and knitting by that too. There is a fireplace that we've been struggling to get going. But yeah, so Tour de Fleece has been full of surprises. This was an unexpected turn, but I'm grateful to be able to dip into stash a bit. My prepped fiber will always be there, ready to be spun when I'm back home. Until then, pretty happy with this. I really want some wallabies to come by, but me speaking probably isn't helping. We had a few yesterday. We had a group of 4. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. Maybe put some music over this and get spinning. I'll show you my turtle that's been formed. I've already done one. I have 2 Wensleydale tops from her. This one is in the colorway Ochre Cliffs. I'm not sure if I covered that. I have another one that's called Desert Rose or Desert Flowers. They're very similar, so what I thought I might do is actually a 2-ply, because it's been a 3-ply Tour de Fleece so far. I thought it might be worth branching out a little bit, you know, go for a sport weight maybe, and woo! I hate it when that happens, when the fiber gets caught. I usually have it draped over. There we go. It's alright, it's a little thick and thin. But I initially did get started on spindles before I got a wheel, and I feel like spindles really teach you about how twist travels into fiber, so it's quite a lovely thing to start on. Wheels can also be a bit of an investment. Turtle pearl Turkish spindles are very affordable, and you can buy it through cash. I forget who else sells them. Maybe Felting for You. Yeah, I did buy it through Felting for You. She's based in WA. She does a lot of 3D printed stuff. I think in my previous week 1 recap, I showed you the 3D printed bobbins that I bought from her for my e-spinner. But anyway, I'm gonna do a bit of spinning, and if it gets too chilly, I'm gonna pop inside and just spin by the fire. The one thing that I don't have the advantage of is height. I am vertically challenged, so I have to keep winding my turtle on faster than I'd like. I would like to do a bit of long draw, but I think this short forward drafting is appropriate for my height and for how often I need to stop or pull. It's a little chillier now, but I thought I'd have some sunset spins. So the sun is right on my face and it's looking quite purple out there. I'm not sure if I could show you that. The sun is just setting. The setting sun is shining through the fiber, and the colors of the spindle and the fiber all match. You can probably hear the cockatoos. They have a lot to say. Hello, and welcome to day 9, 8, probably 9, of Tour de Fleece. I'm currently in the mountains somewhere, and I thought I'd just get some spinning done outside. I'm on my Turkish spindles, which has been my travel project for week 2 of Tour de Fleece. There's currently a really gentle breeze, which is actually helping us spin a little faster, so I hope I can gently capture that as well. You can hear quite a few birds and the trees around me, so yeah, maybe I'll let that take over. The wind is picking up, so I might have to head inside. It's a little chilly. I'm in a few layers, but still, I'm spinning. I think I mentioned this in my video yesterday when I was spinning on the porch. I'm spinning some fiber that is English Wensleydale from Waratah Fibers, Helen is the dyer. And I just love, she's really good with her magentas and fuchsias. And this sort of is transitioning into kind of an orangey red all the way through the fuchsia into a sort of beige yellow, and then to a bit of ochre that I've already spun. So Ochre Cliffs, I think, is a very appropriate name, but if you haven't checked her out, I'll pop her in the description bar below. One of the things, if you are not able to stand for long periods of time, you can definitely be on your Turkish spindle sitting down as well, maybe with a few more stop starts, but I think we shouldn't forget that spinning is for everyone, and there are lots of ways to go about it. And you can spin sitting, or you can spin standing, you can spin lying down, you can do it a lot of ways. Anyway, my little turtle is slowly but steadily forming. I'm starting my little turtle farm on this surprise trip away, and I just zigzag back sometimes to then wind on under tension, just to make sure I'm not catching any major kinks. That will be a nightmare when plying. Someone did ask me on a Facebook group whether I'm going to ply on the spindles or ply on the wheels, and I did respond that laziness is one of my biggest personality traits, so this might end up being wheel plied, but I'm not sure. I did see someone posting about plying on the fly, so I assume it's sort of like a chain plying after you've spun enough of a single. Could I manage that? Probably. Something like that. Oh. Okay, no. Not yet. Alright, I'll leave you there. I might see you day 10. Some really lovely plants to actually dye with. I think these leaves would give you quite an intense yellow or orange. I know some eucalyptus and gum trees around Victoria will actually give you a rusty red. But isn't it just gorgeous? I love the color of those tender stems.